Welcome back, everybody. This is Untitled Reactions. I am your boy, the Fresh Prince of BK, aka Castor Pollux. I am here once again with my brother, Fresh,
Yo.
and we got a really very interesting video for y'all today. So as you guys know, there's been a lot of controversy going on with Beau DeMayo and Marvel Studios for a minute now. He's finally come out with a statement video. They are still under NDAs, so he's not going to be able to get into too many specifics. But at the same time, we're going to be diving into a pretty eye-opening video that goes into all the controversy. The video raises major points about the irony of a company profiting from stories that condemn hate and bigotry, but while also treating one of its own creators with that same kind of behavior. So there's a lot to unpack here. So I guess if there's nothing else that we need to talk about, I'm ready to get illuminated on this situation. Is there anything that you were looking forward to specifically hearing in this conversation for us?
To be honest, man, we've been talking about this for a while now. I think it's been over a year. And I just want to see what he has to say as far as like in context, in full context. Hopefully, he's not behind the bush. And kind of like allude to things. I hope everything is kind of like more clear, so kind of have on a kind of an understanding of what was done to him. So. And I guess this comes in the wake of the whole Rob Liefeld situation. I feel like this, is a stepping point to, talk about these issues that he's having with Marvel. So let's see.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, get ready for the ride, man. This is going to be an interesting one.
Hey everyone. First, I want to welcome you to my new OnlyFans page. It's going to be a little bit unorthodox what I'm doing here, admittedly, but I needed a safe space to be able to post this video as well as future content without fear of harassment or censorship. And before I get to what I plan to do with this page, I first want to address the massive elephant in the room. The allegations being made against me are very serious, and I take them seriously. It's why I took some time to myself these last few weeks. One, to sit with my legal team and figure out how best to respond. But more importantly, to sit with those I love, those closest to me, and assure them of what I will assure you now and what they already knew. These allegations of egregious misconduct are false. The rumors being spread around me online are lies, and they are offensive. But more concerning is that they're a smear campaign designed to discredit my credibility in order to cover up egregious, prejudicial misconduct, stretching from select crew members on X-Men 97 all the way to the top of Marvel Studios. And they're not just trying to discredit me using incredibly misleading press releases, but also through coordinated leaks and bot attacks, as well as anonymous scoops being given to tabloid sites and podcasters. You've maybe heard some of these. I've heard rumbling and whispers about Beau. Now, back when I was in high school, we called this gossip. Unlike then, today, luckily, I have a legal team who has forensic investigators tracking these attack scoops and leaks so that we can hold those responsible for defamation, harassment, and for inciting outright criminal threats of violence. Now, my lawyer told Deadline that this is Disney and Marvel's standard playbook. They have done this to other artists like me. With me, it's look at his Instagram. Doesn't he look thirsty? Isn't he a narcissistic egomaniac? Isn't it too vulgar, too sexual? This isn't someone celebrating their hard work or their journey in overcoming years of internalized racism and homophobia to finally become comfortable in their own skin.
So I'm gonna pause it right there. It's funny he mentioned that because when we talked about him before on a podcast, we always brought up his Instagram, his Twitter. It's like, yo, what's going on? Like I'm seeing Dick Root out here. Like that shit is crazy. I was like, yo. So I'm glad he mentioned that because that's exactly what I'm going based on me. That's what I personally thought, because based on what he's saying now is that there was kind of like a coordinated attack on his character, and I guess that's what they wanted us to believe.
Right.
That, you know, this is the issue that he was having. He's being overly sexualized and all that kind of shit. So
Right.
I'm glad he mentioned that, because it definitely it worked for me. It worked. So continue.
Oh, this is something shameful. This is smoke for a larger fire of predatory behavior. Growing up gay and black in the South, I had to learn to accept that I am not everybody's cup of tea. And that I would, by virtue of just being me, rub some people the wrong way. And let's be honest, this is true of almost everyone. Personality conflicts happen, especially in creative environments like Hollywood. I've worked on a lot of series under some showrunners who have imparted some lessons to me that I tried to apply on X-Men 97. And now, having run a show, I look back with a newfound appreciation for the struggles those showrunners faced. And I think the biggest takeaway I've had is that nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes. Most of us are just trying to do our best. And usually, grace and empathy are the best response to conflict and adversity. If you think about it, that's what X-Men 97 Season 1 was all about. But what's happening with Marvel, what's been going on here, is unlike anything I've ever experienced in this industry. And it takes me back to those days of bigotry and antiquated personalities in the South. Now, the way things have also escalated behind the scenes in ways that I haven't been able to talk about, as well and on top of the emotional trauma that was inflicted upon me while working on this series, has taken me to some pretty dark places. Places I'm not proud of. Places that would have gotten a whole lot worse had friends and coworkers and family not rallied around me these last few months to remind me of who I am. Because honestly, I'm just defeated and I'm tired and I'm a nobody who made one great show. And now I'm a nobody being viciously punished for it. And to spend decades fighting for a seat at a table where people like me usually don't get to sit. I think I can count the number of black gay showrunners or just black showrunners in Hollywood on one or two hands. To just sacrifice everything and to do so much hard work to get there and then have it all stolen. And your character assassinated because of lies is just, I don't know. As easy as it would be to hide away and run, I don't think I have a choice. We talk a lot about doing better, being the change we want to see. But that doesn't happen if we remain silent. No matter how tired or defeated or how scared we may be. No matter if our reputation is being dragged through the mud in the public eye. Ironically, this is the central creed of X-Men, right? And while those at Marvel and those crew members who colluded with them on X-Men 97 can sleep at night, knowing what I know, knowing what they've done, I can't, and I haven't. Because the price of me being silent is other artists walking into that studio thinking that they are safe and protected, and later finding out that they're working for individuals who would profit off of shows and movies like Black Panther and X-Men, all the while themselves being the very villains those heroes face and fight every day just to have the right to be their authentic selves. When I took the job on X-Men, I was told that they value.
I just want to say, so far, This seems like the most genuine response I've seen from anybody that's been caught up in controversy. Like it seems like this dude is having a rough time, and it's almost like I could hear the pain in his voice and see it in his eyes, like what he's talking about right now. Again, we don't know specifically what's going on. I'm sure he's about to go into it, but I just wanted to say I understand what he was saying about well, I'm not gay, but like he said, growing up black and gay in the South, like I think all of us that are minorities kind of grow up in a way feeling the same way that he just said that he felt, as far as like we're all striving to get to a table. But when we look at, especially what's going on right now, I don't want to make it political, but in this political climate, it's like, yeah, it's like we're all striving to get to places that we're really not wanted. And this I don't know, the way that comparison just now, I want to hear more about that, but that comparison of the X-Men and Blade and them being the actual villains that these characters are fighting against, that's a wild statement. Not wild as in crazy, but that's like a wow moment for me, because it's almost like it's shining lights on things that we've complained about before in certain issues with shows and movies. But yeah, I want to continue to hear what he's saying, because I want to see if this is actually going to get deeper into what people's actual opinions are about the products that they're making.
My perspective and experiences as a queer black man. And I made it very clear to them that I was not going to be the black stamp of approval on the project. So it was agreed that due to the themes of the X-Men, as well as my experience and the just general excitement around my pitch, that I would supervise all areas and stages of production. Now, with this, I assumed the studio would protect me from those who maybe harbor biases against having someone who looks, speaks, dresses, and thinks like me as their creative leader and boss. Now, why was this important to me? Guys, just turn on the news. It's common for minorities in leadership roles to not be taken seriously, to have their credentials and their resumes continually questioned by those above and below them, and just generally be written off as a diversity hire who didn't earn the job. I thought Marvel would have my back against this stuff. Instead, the studio looked the other way as my identity was weaponized by Marvel execs and select crew members to undermine me, create a humiliating environment where people felt emboldened to use the same dog whistling stereotypes favored by bigots for decades. He's big, he's intimidating, too opinionated, angry, emotional, flamboyant, dramatic, a pervert. When I called these things out, they pivoted to attacking my talent, accusing me of being too much of a fanboy. They openly resented me fighting for the fans, fighting for the comics.
We had to stop.
They accused
bro. Accusing you for being a fanboy, like, that's not what you want with your creators? Don't you want like people to have that same kind of like excitement that the fans have, and to bring that into a project so you can have that same moment? Like,
that's crazy, bro.
That's the most backward shit I ever had, and it makes sense, because a lot of the times, right, we hear like production, right? They talk about, the showrunners or the directors or the writers, like, hey, listen, we want these actors to go into these movies blind.
Right.
Like, don't read any source material.
Right.
Don't be a fanboy. So it's like, it makes sense at this point in time. They want people to go out there without this idea of what this is, the expectations, and just going into it and bring your own self into this character. I'm like, so now hearing him say this, I'm like, there might be some truth. We don't know. This is only one-sided. We don't know. I'm not sure we're ever going to get the Marvel side. I think that's something that they really don't care to speak about.
Right.
Because there's not one entity. It's not just one person. So we're going to end up having to take his word face value. So, like you said, let's it looks like he's diving a little more into the situation. So let's continue.
That is crazy, because we have been, like you said, we've been talking about that, and now again, this is just his words, but it makes sense, like you said, because we complain and argue about a lot of stuff, and this actually points out to that fact being true, because it's like, why are these things so hard to get accomplished? But yeah, go ahead, continue. I want to I need to hear more about this.
Me of playing karaoke with those comics. And repeatedly, I was told by these individuals that we should be doing our own version of X-Men, writing new stories, and not adapting those written by old white men, by which I could only assume they were referencing individuals like Stan Lee and Chris Claremont. Now, my response to this was to try to calmly outline that fans didn't want to see our version of the X-Men. They, like me, want to see the characters that they have loved for decades faithfully adapted on screen. Now, in return, these individuals would then attempt to sabotage me on my job, painting me as abusive when I declined to make wholesale changes to characters, when I declined to have Jubilee fire plasmoids for her mouth, or make gang signs, or paint the sky with plasmoids in the shape of middle fingers.
What is happening here? See, that doesn't seem like that's a lie. That sounds like real, like, show notes.
Yes.
Like, I'm sending this back to you because I think that Jubilee should do this.
Oh my God.
What the fuck? All right, let's go.
What was worse and what really just hurt is, as I fought for when I felt that fans and audiences want, I was then being painted as being uncollaborative, too difficult, too much of a fanboy, and one executive's favorite phrase to fire at me: Beau, you need to learn to turn your comic book collector brain off.
Holy shit.
They chose to treat me as a child that needed to be scolded. Even as I was drawing upon 40 plus years of dealing with ignorance just like theirs, having survived traumas that they cannot even begin to imagine, never mind understand or appreciate. Maybe, and yes, needless to say, look around me, I take X-Men very seriously. Specifically, I take this specific show's legacy very seriously. It saved my life as a kid, and I know it did others. So when individuals refer to it as just a cartoon, that bumped me. Now, luckily, as I said before, I grew up learning how to spot these types of tactics, these antiquated personality, this type of scapegoating and stereotypes. And so knowing that, and then with the help of the amazingly talented crew on X-Men 97, was still able to get X-Men 97 across the finish line, even if doing so cost me my job and now my reputation. So this gets to the bigger, larger question, the bigger picture. What would cause Disney and Marvel to attack me this bad, to come at me this hard? I'm going to try to break it down as simply as I can, while operating within the parameters of some NDAs that my lawyer and I are still working out. I think the simplest way to put it is that the things I witnessed while working at Marvel were beyond wrong and unethical. It is wrong for a crew producer who repeatedly white-splains to his boss to respond to his boss's concerns on January 9th of this year with, "This has jack shit to do with me being white." It is wrong for that same producer to repeatedly joke to the crew about how he showed my thirst traps on Instagram to his underage son, and his kid is wondering, do they need to buy me shirts for Christmas? It is wrong for this same producer when I notify them that one of our leads is having a potentially exploitative sexual relationship with a PA, for this producer to bury my report and actually go to the individual in question and let them know that I had ratted on them so that they can then work together to discredit me. It is wrong for Marvel execs to roll their eyes when I raise concerns about being bullied and targeted on account of my identity, to tell me to deal with it because these individuals are amazingly talented. It is wrong for an artist on the show to repeatedly denounce all men as jerks and to accuse me of failing the cause because I'm keeping a jerk like Cyclops as leader of the team. It is wrong to question my intelligence because my muscles don't make me look like a writer, or to talk about how I am fit with 2 C's. It is wrong for Marvel leadership.
What is going on out here, bro?
Yeah, we need to look up these producers, bro.
Yo, for real, bro.
We need at the end of this, we have to look up these producers, man, because we
gotta,
this
back
is
while giving me notes
and
on a
real quick. Didn't I could have swore we heard at one point that he was the one that had a illegitimate situation with one of the PAs, right?
Yeah.
They said it was him.
They said it was him.
And now he said it was somebody else that colluded with. Yo, this is madness, bro.
So circling back to the beginning part where they were sending these scoops and leaks to different outlets. That was probably one of them. They was like, yo, just say it was him. Like it was him that was having this, or they was playing telephone. You play telephone. By the time you get to the last person, that message has been diluted to something else.
Right.
So they probably just pinned that on him, and it's like, oh shit. So like, if you got the main Marvel dudes, they're like, nah, we got to get rid of this dude. And they probably I think they fucked up on this one.
And then he said, dude was sending his thirst traps to his underage son. What? Like,
yeah, this is wild, bro. Like, this shit is some like. Is this question? Mm-hmm. Is this the video that he had that was a paywall on his OnlyFans last year, or this is something that he did again?
No,
so he finally.
Because remember when he started it, he said this was on his OnlyFans page. So I think this was the one that he did from back then.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Because I don't know if he did another OnlyFans, because I know that he did a video, but just no one was able to see it. So I guess now he's releasing it to YouTube, and so we can all, watch this. Yeah, because this is something that shouldn't be behind a paywall. But I get what he's saying, that he doesn't want to deal with the whole censorship situation and YouTube.
I get it.
So I get it that he had to put it on that platform. He could have released it on X. I think X is pretty much fine with that. But yeah, I guess for more engagement, I guess he wanted to, do it this way. But let's continue. You're still not even halfway into this, so let's go.
Wow, that's already a lot going on.
Blade script. A table of white men laughing as they tell me, "Hey, look at us. We hired a young Wesley Snipes to write the new Blade movie." And one of the reasons I wanted to do this video is so that you can see that Wesley Snipes and I look nothing alike.
Bro.
And it is wrong when I suggested this past February that we reach out to RuPaul's Drag Race to find a way to promote X-Men with a beloved queer franchise on that show, to be told by Marvel that they wouldn't want to alienate certain audiences. It is wrong for their publicity department to list homosexuality as a hot button issue to avoid alongside school shootings, the Gaza conflict, and abortion. It is wrong for Marvel execs to foster inappropriate professional relationships with the artist I mentioned prior, so as to push others out of the creative process who are not like them based on their identities. It is wrong for these two same individuals to write off an interracial relationship between Bishop and another white character as creepy and something that belongs on Skinamax. Of course, these two individuals did not have any issues with far racier moments in season 1 involving white characters. And what I want to point out here is these anonymous scoops that keep on using the word creepy. I heard that term from these individuals multiple times. It is wrong for this lead artist to relay to me at a company barbecue in 2021 that her husband felt that I must get a lot of dick based upon how I look.
Oh,
it is wrong to keep me as a nightmare for advocating for more representation for characters like Storm and Bishop and more.
Word.
And if you want to know why they're coming at me so hard,
Yeah.
why they're risking
Yeah.
basically just lying to you, it's because this is not even the half of it.
Holy
Ultimately,
shit.
the last
This ain't
straw
the
for
half?
me was when I got to Atlanta to work on Blade, and I saw others being treated like me, being told that someone needed to crack the whip around here. Crack the whip in Atlanta, Georgia, at Tyler Perry Studios, which were formerly barracks during the Civil War. Now, after witnessing this and far worse incidences that I am not yet prepared to talk about on Blade, I relayed my concerns to Marvel on September 6th, 2022, hoping to work with them to do better, urging them to reflect on the biases that we all have. In return, I was removed from the project in the middle of moving to Atlanta for production, and then had my role on season 2 of X-Men 97 aggressively marginalized, despite the integrity of my work in season 1. And this is going to be very important, because the quality of my work on X-Men 97 has been spoken about by Marvel several times, like Brad Winterbaum's March 15th interview with Entertainment Weekly following my exit of the show. It happened again on May 17th. Also in EW, when Winterbaum insisted that they were following my blueprint and my vision for season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this raises a question. If all these rumors and this pattern of egregious misconduct were true, why would you have the head of Marvel TV making such statements to the press when fans reacted badly to me being dismissed, when they began demanding me back? Why not say all of this then? But when I spoke out about the Emmys and them stripping me of my season 2 credits based upon a gay pride post, then all these narratives appear. And actually, if I really think about it, the season 2 credit issue and them stripping is a perfect example of the type of manipulative dishonesty they're going for here. Disney has alleged that I breached my exit agreement several times. Breaches, much like egregious, sound so bad, so serious. I must have done something terrible after my exit to make them strip me of my credits. But here's what really happened. The exit agreement, which they coerced me to sign under threat of removing all of my credits, lacked certain civil rights protections that California law requires, thus rendering it invalid. My legal team notified them of this, but still, Marvel persisted for months to harass and stalk my social media, looking for any ammo possible to attack me. Now, what were these breaches, though, they're actually referencing? It was me talking to you, the fans. It was me speaking about Pulse after episode 5 on Twitter and how much of an influence it was on the vision of the series. It was me at a bar, speaking at a screening event, talking about how I had outlined 5 seasons of the show. It was me thanking fans on Twitter and Instagram for their support, highlighting cast and crew, speaking positively about Marvel, posting fan art. These were the offensive breaches. And somehow they justify this campaign to erase me from the show I created, with Marvel going so far as to actively blacklist me from third-party non-Disney Comic-Con panels this past summer, all the way to denying me invites and blocking me from attending award shows like the Emmys, which we've talked about. And as I go through all this, I really have to wonder just how X-Men Season 1 managed to turn out as well as it did. And then I think about the crew. The overwhelming majority of the crew of X-Men 97 are some of the most talented, kind-hearted people I have ever met. They're insanely talented. And I still feel so honored that they trusted me and my vision and worked so hard to make it a reality, despite Marvel and others on the crew who would have had us deliver something wholly subpar for the sake of their egos. I have received a lot of messages from them, a lot of messages of support and love, and they have gotten me through some really dark times, the dark times I was talking about earlier. But I was also infuriated to learn that Marvel publicity internally has been actively working to prevent them from speaking about their positive work experiences with me, going so far as to interrupt interviews they are giving to sites like IGN and forcing them to re-record answers that erase me or mitigate my contributions. They've been told not to give Beau too much credit or to not go overboard with how influential Beau was on the series. And when Marvel tells you to do something, comes with the implied threat of what will happen if you don't. And if the crew had any doubts, they just needed to look at what happened and what is happening with me right now. But actually, what concerns me the most out of these messages I have received is the fact that the X-Men 97 crew are still being abused, just like I was. Abused with impossible pipeline demand that endanger their health and safety, and studio politics that create a toxic environment that turns individuals against one another, stokes paranoia to ensure compliance. These people are tired, they're scared, some of them are broken, and they've been reaching out to me for help. And we've seen VFX artists try to raise awareness about the near criminal working conditions at Marvel. Nothing has changed. I had editors falling asleep at the wheel. I had individuals rapidly losing weight, having mental breakdowns. And when I reached out to Marvel about these safety issues, when I emailed them, the response I got was the same response I got when I reported prejudicial conduct. More retaliation. Now, in the end, the offenses Marvel and others have leaked are designed to distract you from what really offended them. As someone like me dared to speak truth to people like them. They wanted me to be the black stamp of approval on this project. I declined. They wanted to erase aspects of my personality that clashed or proved inconvenient with the misguided narratives they wanted to establish. I declined. They tried to intimidate me with both explicit and implied threats. I was not intimidated. Everything they have done since then has been designed not just to silence me and smear me, but to crush me and to remind me to know my role. So what next then? Honestly, it is so tempting to just drop all the names and receipts that I have online. It has been soul crushing.
Put them out there.
Watching the very same people who committed the above do press and podcast interviews, screening Q&As, Comic-Con panels, where they claim to be fans, while discussing a show that denounces the very prejudice and ignorance that they peddle. Honestly, this means you have actually already seen their faces and may already know their names. And should X-Men 97 win an Emmy, you'll see them again as some of the faces that take that stage to accept an award for a show about intolerance and identity are the very same people who disrespected mine and routinely wrote me off as a DEI hire. Tempting as it may be to just drop it all online, that would make me no better than them. I would prefer to present this evidence to Disney and Marvel and work with them so that those responsible are able to receive what I was not. A full and fair investigation away from the public eye, one that is confidential and that resembles some form of just ethical due process. Disney, Marvel, my team and I have already started your investigation. I have the receipts and the eyewitnesses, so long as you stop coercing them to lie. You can keep attacking me with lies and misinformation, and we can become the ugliest, most annoying version of that back and forth tennis ball me. Or you can start acting like a studio that is worthy of a show like X-Men 90s. This is me, basically trying to do the right thing. And this is Marvel's chance to do the same. And just like with the past 4 years, I'm still willing, I'm still here, trying to help you seize the opportunity to do better. Now, while my legal team and I work to hold those accountable, and we will, I will be using this page to basically give fans and audiences what they have been asking me for months, which is behind the scenes content on how we created X-Men 97, as well as being able to just talk about other shows I've been on, other experiences, talk about writing as a craft, and all things nerdy, gay, and black. This is also going to give me a great opportunity to highlight individuals on the show, unsung heroes, in my opinion, who have been also erased from press events due to studio politics or just generally because they support me. But what I'll also be doing is showing you how I baked the very trauma I was experiencing at Marvel into the show I was making for them. When Magneto talks about how they still come for you even if you play by their rule, when Storm laments how the more she used her gifts to help humans, the more they hated her, I did not write these lines by accident. This was me coping with being gay, black, and open about it at Marvel Studios.
Wow.
Now, before I end, I want to thank everybody for just showing up, for listening. I know there will be people, many people, who for various reasons will not believe a thing I've said, who think I'm just pulling the diversity cards. But to those of you who do believe, and actually, now that I think about it, to those of you who don't but still took the time to watch all of this, thank you. Thank you for hearing me out. Because despite all of this, despite what I've endured and what I still yet will endure, the fact that we were able to give fans and audiences something like X-Men 97, something where people just felt so seen and heard, makes all of this work. Ultimately, it's my love for X-Men that is compelling me to speak the truth today, full well knowing that it could likely end my career. One last thing that bears mentioning. Across 3 projects and in 6 years of working for Marvel, I was never once spoken to, disciplined, warned by HR. That is, until 4 days after I sent a text message to a Marvel employee saying that I no longer felt safe at the studio as a gay black man. This conversation with HR, 4 days after I sent that text, was the same conversation where I was dismissed. Thank you for listening. I'm really looking forward to the content we're going to be providing here, to discussing all things nerdy and X-Men. And so I will see you next week. Thank you.
Did you feel clarity with this video?
For the most part, besides understanding who these people were, because it'll put a lot more stuff into context. I mean, I got clarity on like certain things. Like we said, like we were hearing a lot of stuff that came out, and to hear that, like the PA situation, because we thought that's what it was. Like, oh, my man is there again. We're mixing all of the news that we were getting around those times. So, oh yeah, he got fired for this. What nobody knows. Oh, this misconduct. He's doing creepy shit. Oh, what happened? He's got an OnlyFans page. Oh, like you said, look at the pictures. Oh, I see dick root. Like, there's a whole lot of shit going on. But then to find out that these are things that were perpetrated by other people. And, you know, again, we don't know if a lot of the things he said are exactly true, but the statements that he made sounds like statements that would be made from people in positions or people who feel like they have some type of authority over you. Again, I don't know, maybe I'm a little biased. Being a black man, I understand a lot of the situations he set up. Working in corporate America, I understand a lot of that. And walking on eggshells, and regardless of whatever title or power you might have, you still might have people that are under you with less qualified and all of that, still acting like or feeling like they could talk to you any type of way that they want to, or feeling like they could get away with whatever because you're not qualified, or like he said, a DEI hire. Yeah, this is nuts, man. Turn your comic book brain off. They're not looking for people that are obsessed with these comics, even though this is the product that you're selling it to, is people that are obsessed with these things, but you don't want the creators to be like that or have that connection with the fans. That's weird. One of the statements he made, in my head, I'm like, oh, so this is why we can't get a goddamn Blade movie, because we had what we needed, and then y'all messed it up by messing up, by having this whole situation go down with Beau. And then it seems like everything after that has been just turning, throwing away, turning, throwing away. This is a lot of wild stuff.
It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating to say the least, man. Because I've been in a situation like this before where your character has been assassinated. As far as like, I've been my last job working at, I don't want to say the company, but yeah, it was just like, I worked my ass off. I went through, panic attacks, fucking, burnout, because I was just working, it was just so much work. And I feel like we weren't being heard, you know what I mean? As far as needing help, right? And people kind of took those, my worst moments,
as
and they judged me on, and they judged me on my worst moment. And dude, like, it went from like managers having, speaking to other employees about me, and then using that in my review, and it's like, oh, I'm not a team player, blase blase, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I get along with, I would say 90% of the people that work here, as far as like, and they put me on this weird plan that I needed to like do in order for me to keep my job. And it was just so many things. Even like a manager coming to me like, man, you know about all the skeletons here. Like, you got, you know about this, that, like, you could easily get us fired, pretty much. Like, they was taking laptops, shipping laptops to different countries and shit. And I'm not the type of person that will bring that to management. You know what I mean? That's not my thing. I don't, that's your thing. You know what I mean? But, yeah, it was just so many different things, and I understand. I'm not saying what I went through is the same thing that Beau went through, but I understand what it is, where you can't control what other people say, and then those people take that information, they run with it. Even people that don't know me, like, you plant seeds in different people's ears, and they really come up with a preconceived notion of who I am before they can even meet me.
Right.
So, yeah, I get it. It's fucked up. Yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad for the dude, man, because I know that I reached out to Beau not too long ago just to get him on the podcast. We were gonna get him on the podcast. Something had happened. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it was something like, I think this video had just dropped or whatever, and he was not doing interviews anymore. And to be honest, we didn't even want to bring him onto the show to talk about any of the bullshit. We kind of just wanted to talk to him as a fan.
Yeah.
And wanted to see what was his mindset was at, as far as doing X-Men 97. I'm not sure if he has a lot of great moments, but we wanted to hear those things. We wanted to hear his thoughts on Blade and what was his pitch, and we wanted to see.
We wanted to nerd out with him.
Yeah, we wanted to nerd out, and we wanted to see what he could talk about if he's on the NDA. So it was not even about the bullshit. But now hearing this, I'm like, damn, this is crazy. Like, he went through a lot of shit, and again, this is one-sided situation here. A lot of the times people tend to use, I'm black and I'm gay as an issue that they have to further their point.
Right.
So I don't know if this is real or not, but based on what I'm watching now, he seems very sincere. And he seems like, a lot of things he was saying, I was hearing, but I was hearing it with a different situation. as far as like him not being the person that was having the relationship with the PA.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's a lot of like misinformation that got to us, and it got to us with, you know, little to no context.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of cool to hear what he had to say, because mind you, like I said before at the very beginning of the show, like his episode is that you know, I fell into that Marvel trap as far as him going on Twitter and him showing a lot of like, I'm like, yo, this is probably why he got fired, because I went based on what I heard in his reports, and I think we all kind of came to an agreement, like, yeah, that's crazy. But again, like that's what he's doing with his own personal time, and he was not doing any sexual shit. He was just kind of what's the difference between going online and seeing someone, you know, in the gym with like, you know, no shirt on, you know, using the machines or whatever, or a female wearing a tight fitted, you know, gym attire, and it's like, oh, we don't really bat an eye with that, but with him, it's like, oh, he shouldn't be doing that. He's an executive.
That's what it
kind
is.
of stupid.
A lot of us as men, especially when it comes to social media, a lot of us are not really following a lot of dudes on our pages. You know what I'm saying? If we don't know you personally, most likely we're not following you on the page. So to be real about it, like, we don't see a lot of shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know my boys don't really post pictures like that, regardless of whether they go into the gym or not. And also, I'm not condemning the dude for it, because again, like, it seems like he has gone through a lot in his life, and the weightlifting is another thing that kind of added to his self-esteem. So I'm not mad at him or saying that he shouldn't be doing that or showing his body off. You want to do that, go ahead and do it. It's just kind of weird to us because we're not used to seeing things like that. And, you know, people want to also throw other things around it, the gay thing and all of that. But to me, at the end of the day, being a very objective person, like you said, there's no difference between what he's doing and the thousands of chicks that we might be following or have on our page that's out there in bathing suits or in there in skimpy gym attire. It's all the same shit. A thirst trap is a thirst trap. So yeah, you can't condemn a dude over something like that. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I kind of want to, like, I know that we're not going to get this kind of information because they still within the Marvel umbrella. But like, I wonder, like, you know, Ryan Coogler's, you know, his journey in Marvel. Nia DaCosta, you know, the director from Marvels. What do you call Chloe Zhao? Like, I want to know what they you know, issues, like if they had the same kind of issue,
right?
Because, you know, this is Black Panther, like this is a really big thing. So I could imagine, like, or maybe he didn't go through anything because maybe he was already kind of, you know, he was already an Oscar-nominated director. I think no, Oscar-winning director, I believe. I'm not quite sure if I'm getting that wrong, but I don't know. I just it's a lot of information. It was only in half an hour, but it was a lot within that half an hour that kind of like had me like, oh shit, this is big. I wonder if Marvel's gonna kind of like look into it and rehash this, because if this is true and he has receipts and he has all this shit, then they should be able to hear and listen, like hear him out. This is almost like what Ray Fisher dealt with during the Justice League situation with
Joss Whedon.
With Josh Whedon and what was the other he was like pretty much the Kevin Feige at that time. He wrote Green Lantern.
Oh man.
Damn, it's right there. It's the other guy with the ball cap.
Yeah, it's my guy too. I can't. Oh man, I forgot. But yeah, I know. Matter of fact, now we gotta look this up because.
He was part of the New 52 writer.
Yeah.
Let me see. It's damn, bro, and it's funny because he was. What the fuck, man? What's this guy's name, man? I'll definitely cut it. Oh, Jeff Johns.
There you go. And I was about to say I haven't heard from the dude in a minute, so that's killing me too. But yeah, Jeff Johns.
Yeah. So Jeff Johns, man, because he had the issue too, because he, you know, with the whole restructuring of the Justice League, they brought in Joss Whedon and Jeff Johns, and they did a complete, like not a complete rewrite, but they've rewritten the whole entire second and third half. And there was a couple of things that that Ray Fisher kind of went out and stuck out his neck, like, hey, this is a lot of, and it was not even about him, it was about other employees,
right?
And they made it about him, and they try to kill his career too. They try to kill it, and And he was like, you know what? I'm taking a stand. I'm not until you guys apologize to what you guys doing or fix whatever issues. He said, I'm not coming back. He was supposed to be in the Flash movie. It was supposed to be a buddy cop situation. Him and Flash. It was supposed to be Flash and Cyborg. It was supposed to be the Flashpoint situation.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm not coming back. And he stood his ground. You know, and he still got work. He's still working. I think he has a project coming out very soon. But yeah, we went through something similar as well, as far as like that whole, you know, mischaracter him and doing this whole assassination.
It's really defamation of character at the end of the day.
Defamation, yeah, right. Yeah, oof. This is a lot to unpack, man.
I'm interested in those directors you talked about too, because to be honest, like we've all had opinions about these movies, about things that don't make no sense, and this sheds or shines a lot of light because we assume that these things go on, but you know we have no proof. But again, hearing this, it just gives us further proof that this is what they're doing. They have agendas that they're trying to pull off in these movies, and this is why they're not coming off the right way. Like say, and I feel similar to, again, Ryan Coogler might not say anything, but you know, with Nate Moore being there and all of that, it's like, yeah, you pushing another narrative with this child and everything that they got going on. Y'all doing things that nobody's asking for, that nobody wants. Y'all are racing characters or racing creators and people that have something to do with it. Like you said, Rob Liefeld and that whole situation. The VX artists, like these are problems we've been hearing about for a long time. So to me, again, without passing any judgment right away, my final take is like, this makes sense. This makes a whole lot of sense to me, the way he broke it down. And like you say, he's very sincere about everything. So yeah, this.
Yeah, so I'm going based on the IMBD and you know, the producers that were in X-Men '97. I'm looking at the executive producers, right? And it's not saying a lot, but it's narrowing down to like who can be the person that's. And I don't want to like sit there and call somebody out. That's probably not the issue. Probably not the corporate.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just gonna list a couple of names, right? And I guess you guys, the viewers, whoever's watching, can decide from who it could be, as far as because I'm looking at it here, and the top bill guy is Louis Esposito.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, you got Kevin Feige. Then after that, you have Charlie Fedman, female. She's a female producer. Victoria Alonso, which we all know that she got fired as well.
Mm-hmm. She
got fired too, but she was a part. I think she was a part of the whole like DEI, making sure like there was more representation in the Marvel Cinema. But I'm not sure if she could be part of an initiative. She may not have the heart in it.
Right.
She's just doing it because it's a job. So I don't want to cast her out either, because she's a female. Because she could well be the person that's out there like trying to get these initiatives and pushing extra agenda. And that's probably what the only I could see butting heads. He said 2022. So she was there in 2022. She only got fired, I think, a little after Miss Marvel dropped. So you have her and you have Beau DeMayo. So who could it be? You know what I mean? So it's crazy. It is wild. It is wild. I'm not sure how to take this information. We all know that there's always some kind of like, you know, some bullshit in every job. Every job you go to, there's always a hierarchy that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Either these racial or just all around, just power. You know, just
power and difference dynamics.
Exactly.
High school clique politics, all types.
Yeah. It is like that everywhere. Like we've been through it at different jobs. You know, and it's funny because I've been to jobs where I felt like I couldn't get a voice because all the top management were black. You know what I mean? And I've been to places where all top management was Hispanic. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. But when it comes down to Marvel, the majority of the people are white. So I could imagine him having to go through that shit and him having to pitch an idea. Because mind you, like becoming a showrunner, getting a job as a showrunner for reviving X-Men '97 is a big deal. Some people look at that more of a big deal than a Blade movie. You know what I mean? It depends on where they at nostalgically with that project. And for him to kind of like go into it and for them to tell me, you need to turn off your comic book brain, your comic book collector brain, and stop fanboying.
That's the
that
wildest comment I think we got out of this whole
yeah,
situation, bro.
that's some asinine shit right there, bro. Like that is crazy. That's like being a pilot and loving to fly. And like, yo, just like stop being a pilot. Stop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, nautical miles versus miles. Like, just worry about miles. So what are you worrying about nautical miles? It's just the dumbest shit in the world, bro. It's just, I don't get it. I do not get it.
I believe that, though. I believe that because it sheds light on a lot of shit that we argue about on social media. So I believe that 100%.
Yeah, it's dumb and it's dumb. And to be honest, we see it because maybe you have some directors that, you know, people think that these directors and these writers and they fucking rich. They're not rich.
Right.
They are they're contractors, right? They're contractors that have a long-term contract or short-term contract, right? And after a movie is done, they're considered unemployed. A lot of them go into unemployment to keep on getting money.
Right.
So you have some directors that maybe they feel like, you know, this is the best shot, and when they get these notes from these studio execs, they may be like, all right, I really don't want to fuck with this bag, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna. And versus Beau DeMayo is like, nah, I'm not doing that shit. And then you get that pushback because think about it, right? And I'm not saying that this is something that James Gunn's done. This has not been confirmed. But when the director of Joker 2,
Todd Phillips,
his name is Todd Phillips, was given notes from James Gunn and the folks, and he was like, what are you doing? Like, he sent them shits right back. But the fact that he did that, then when the movie came out, promotion material was not available like that.
Yep.
They made sure that DC Studios was not plastered on that shit. They made sure that it was a offset. Like, we had nothing to do with that shit. You know what I mean? So like, it got zero play. I'm not saying the movie's fucking fantastic, but it's not as bad as people said it was. And I feel like, you know, it set up that movie for failure. And mind you, Todd Phillips didn't even want the movie. Like, it was WB that asked for it.
Right.
What are you doing?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it. That notes situation, I get it. If you're a person that really like is serious about your craft, and like that's like
and the source material.
Yeah, and you just imagine, like, you come in, you know, you fucking painting the Mona Lisa, right? And then someone comes to you and be like, this is some notes. You should change this about the Mona Lisa. Like, it's your art, right? And I get it. You're not putting out the risk, right? You're not spending your own money to make this movie. You know, you got to answer to these people that put in this money. But at the same time, it's like, yo, you should let creators create. And that's when we get a lot of the great fucking shit. Like, let creators create. And I feel like we get that with certain movies. I know James Gunn, he's very, like, this is the movie I want to make. This is what I wrote. This is the storyboard. And nothing's going to change. I don't do improv. I don't do any of this stuff. This is my movie. This is my stamp. You know? And you could tell there's no director's cut. His cut is the cut. But there's certain directors that don't get that kind of that grace. So yeah, I don't know, man. I feel bad. I kind of, to be honest, I'm not the type of person that kind of believe the first thing that someone says. Right? I like to hear both sides, but going based on what he said and then hearing the blogs talk about this exercise, I'm like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. That was the whole smoke and mirror situation. They gaslit us. You know, there was just imagine, like, with going back to like the Jason Balzani, what was his name? Jason, what was his name?
I don't know.
Balzani.
The dude that was showing Deadpool.
Blake Lively. Like, there's been text messages where he had his PR team, and his PR team was like, we're gonna fuck up a career. Pretty much on text, like, this
Oh
is what we're gonna
wow.
do. And it was going to different outlets and different scoopers. Because mind you, like, these scoopers, their job is to scoop, right?
Exactly.
If they don't have no scoops, they have nothing to kind of do on the internet.
Mhm.
So they will take any information. Just imagine as a scooper, right? Just there's someone that's really trying to get up there in the world, right? And you get this email
Mhm.
from this person, like, hey, listen, I'm gonna give you this information, but you cannot say where you got the source from.
Right.
It's gonna give you the engagement you want to get big.
Right.
They'll do whatever they want to do with that shit. If I got an email saying, hey, this is some information, I'm gonna talk to you like, yo, I think we should talk about this. But at the same time, it's like, it may be misinformation. But a lot of these scoopers went ahead and threw this information out. And look, it got me. You know what I mean? I was like, oh shit, like, this guy's out here wilding. Every time I saw his post, I'm like, yo, he's wilding. This is probably why he got fired.
Yeah, because that's what it is. They set you up with the narrative first, so now everything that you're looking at it through that lens.
Exactly. So, yeah, man. Shout out to Beau DeMayo for releasing this video, man. I think that this was something that I'm glad he released. You know, I was really kind of like turned off to the fact that he had it only on his OnlyFans. Like, I was not paying for that to kind of like get the information. I think that I'm glad he was able to change. He had to change the heart and decided to release.
I'm also not mad at him though, because just like you said, like, these people are out of work and stuff. My man got to survive right now, so I'm also not mad at him putting it. I get it. I'm not gonna pay for it, but I get it, bro.
Exactly. And I really hope this dude, you know, and I reached out to him on Twitter, and I wanted to see where his mindset as far as like if he wanted to come back to this whole, coming back into the comic book genre, and either writing or directing. And he was like, yeah, I would love to go to DC. So hey, James Gunn, if you're listening, man, just this guy
up, man.
He's talented, man. He's talented. Let him work, let him cook. Look, think about it, man. X-Men 97 was one of the better Disney Plus shows, live action and animated. And he prepped himself so much that he had a second season already. He has a whole Bible, so they're using his whole source shit, his whole plan, his whole storyboard, storyline, and they're not even crediting him. That is crazy.
Well, I know he had 5 seasons ready, like.
Yeah, because he did mention, like, in California, there's what do you call it, DGI or some shit like that, where if you write a certain amount of whatever for a film, like, you're supposed to get credited. That is by law. But I guess Marvel decided to, like, use lewd acts where it's like, yo, I can't, by law, like, this guy, he did some egregious stuff, and that's what they did with and I'm not condoning, but this guy, what was his the X-Men director,
Bryan Singer.
Bryan Singer had some crazy accusations, and he was the director and writer of Bohemian Rhapsody, and because they was able to use that allegation against him, they was able to take his name off the credits.
But I think
even though he's shut.
Is this something new, or are you talking about what happened with the kid from X2?
I know. Well, I think
that got put out. That's true. That it actually happened.
Yeah. So the allegation, I'm just because I don't know 100%. So I don't want to say this is something that happened. But if you say that it's already been cleared up and he's already been accused of it, then that's what it is. I just didn't want to like throw it out because I didn't know. I feel you. 100%.
But I also didn't want to give him no grace. Like, fuck that alleged shit. He got caught up in that. So people like that we need to put out there. You don't get grace.
Yeah.
For this
So,
one,
but what I'm trying to say is, like, that's how studios can get around to removing someone's credit by using these egregious acts. You know what I mean? And they use that against them. And if they're not true, that's kind of fucked up. That So I think Disney should either hear him out, have a meeting with him, and try to, like, if you don't want to bring him back for season 2, that's great. But give the man his credit. That goes into his IMDb. That goes into his resume. That's like telling someone that you did something for so many years and, like, oh, you can't put that in your resume.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even though he can mention it, like, but where's the proof that you worked on it?
Yeah.
So Yeah, it kind of, to be honest, bro, it kind of makes me not want to see the X-Men season 2.
Right?
Even though I do want to see it, but I'm like, yo, like that shit is like that's
It's
blood money
it's
right there.
tarnished now. Yeah,
Tarnished,
it's
bro.
tarnished.
So like, yo, like I want to sit here, like, all right, like who's gonna be the person that's taking credit now? Who's gonna be that executive that's gonna be like, oh, look,
It's
this is
it's
me.
probably Jake, Jake Castorena.
I don't know, man, but let's see. I don't know. This is crazy. This is a good one, man.
I guess the last thing I wanted to put out there also, like the one thing that I noticed, like you said, very genuine with everything you said, but overall, this dude is still not like coming back at Marvel. He's not clapping back. He's not doing anything crazy, and he's repeatedly saying that, "Yo, I want to come back and work. I'm just like we need to fix the problems that's going on." Like this, it sounds very honorable, bro, and it seems like he has a lot more patience and grace than I would if I was in this type of position and that was really what was going on. Yeah, I'd probably be wilding, bro. But this dude is still putting a good face forward. You know what I'm saying? He again not throwing nobody out there. Again, we want to know what's going on, but again, he's not being ratchet or ghetto about the situation. Just throwing people out there like everything. Like this was a great presentation, I think, from his side. And again, it's only one side of the story, but from his side of the story, it seems to add a lot more context and fix a lot of things that we had astray. So, yeah, man, more power to him. I wish him the best of luck. Like you said, if James Gunn pull him over, somebody give this dude work. Marvel bring him back, whatever, man. Get this dude on this Blade project, bro. That's my main pull from really all of this shit. Is that this is why we ain't got a Blade right now, because y'all fucked with the writer. And now look what happened. Now we can't even get this shit off the ground now. Like it's crazy, but yeah, man, more power to him, man. Hopefully we could get him on the show too, because I still want to talk some nerdy talk with him. But yeah, man, I hope this situation gets rectified and worked out for the best, for his best, I should say.
Right. All right. So we're gonna end today's episode. Well, this is like a special presentation because this was not on my bingo card for today.
Right.
So we're gonna end today's feature presentation. If you guys haven't done so, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification. We go live every Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, definitely tune in, man. Hang out with us. If you have any questions, if you want us to do any kind of like top 5, jump into the previous VODs and throw some topics, and then we can have it ready for the next episode. But yeah, definitely chime in. Let us know what you guys think. Especially let us know what you guys think about this whole Beau DeMayo situation. We want to hear. Definitely want to hear.
Yeah, do you believe him? Do you think he's full of shit? I mean, are we simping? Like, what's going on? Let us know how y'all feel, man.
And trust me, we're not leaning left, right. Like this is a human thing,
right?
You know what I mean? Like say what you want to say. Just don't be an asshole. Don't be a racist. Those racist comments will definitely be deleted.
Don't be a homophobe.
Just be reasonable. Yeah, just look at it without that biased lens and just kind of like hear what you have to say and then come up with your own assessment and let us know.
Put yourself in those shoes.
Word. So until next week, man. Well, until this week, man. We'll see y'all on Friday if you guys come chill.
Right.
All right. Peace out.
Peace.